Hello, everybody. My name is Veronica Carlin, and I am a member of the Orfeo Music Festival team administering today's webinar. I am pleased to welcome you all to this session in the new Orfeo Music Festival Spring 2022 webinar series devoted to classical music performance. I believe we have a full and exciting program planned for today. I would now like to introduce Larissa Jackson, longtime music director of the Orfeo Music Festival, who has led the planning and development of the festival, as well as our webinar program today. Larissa will manage our program and will be available to answer any questions during and after this webinar. And I'll pass it over to Larissa.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Orfeo Music Festival. I'll say a few words about the festival and then we'll go on to our program today. Orfeo Festival is an international classical music event widely known for its artistic excellence. And from the time of its founding in 2003, the festival's mission is to celebrate and promote artistic excellence with classical music performances of the highest standard and to offer superior education to the new generation of musicians with the world-class artists to nurture creativity and to build lasting human and artistic bonds.
Great, and I would like to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we will be posting the webinar series. And of course, feel free to share this video with anyone who might be interested.
We're opening a new webinar series, Music is Our World, which is a 3-year initiative by the Orfeo Festival, exploring the role of music in our lives in a variety of different ways, but concentrating on the art of musical performance, which lays at the corner of musical experience. And today's webinar will be focusing on our very long-time member and the great violinist, faculty member, Madeleine Mitchell, who is a professor at Royal College of Music, London. And Madeleine is one of Britain's most outstanding violinists and has performed as a soloist and chamber musician in 50 countries in a wide repertoire. She is also sought after as a teacher, giving master classes worldwide, and was a finalist in both the European Women Achievement Awards and the Creative Britain Awards. Won the Tagore Gold Medal as a scholar at the Royal College of Music, where she has been a professor since 1994. Madeleine, welcome. Please introduce us to your student, and we will continue with the program.
I'm really delighted to be here, and I'm delighted to have been involved with this festival since you mentioned that when it was founded. And I'm very pleased to introduce my student, Shing Chow, who is from Hong Kong and is studying with me here in London at the Royal College of Music, and is going to present some of the great Brahms violin concerto for us tonight. This is one of my, or I think you're in the afternoon. For us, it's the evening here in London. For me, this is one of my absolute favorite concertos. I just think it is the most fantastic piece, emotionally, structurally, everything about it. I just think it's the most marvelous piece. And I said to Shing when he first came to me, and I said, I remember working at this for months and months when I was a student, and then performing it, and being very sad when at the first lockdown to think that when could one play this again? So here we are. It was written for the great violinist Joseph Joachim, and I think what's so interesting, if you think about some of the other great violin concertos, great violin music, let's say, Bartók, Stravinsky, it was all written by non-violinists, and they all had close friends who were great violinists. So in this case, Joseph Joachim helped Brahms with the violin part because they were mostly pianists, these composers. And when Brahms presented this to Joachim, he made some alterations to make it a little bit easier, but it's still very challenging. Joachim gave the premiere in 1879, and then Brahms made a few alterations, and it was then later published that year. We're going to hear some extracts, starting with the very opening, violin opening, for about 2 pages, I think, just over 2 pages. And then perhaps we'll talk about each part rather than waiting until the end. you very much. Well done, because it's the first time that you've actually played this in such a situation, and it's such a good experience. What I think is that it would be so great to have the piano, to have the orchestra, just to think of the opening tempo, really, to have this in mind, because when you launch into this passage at the beginning, I think one has to keep in mind where you're going, which you're ending up playing the opening thing, right? Because it was maybe a tiny bit slow towards the end of that section. So, let me just get my score. I've got here the miniature score. You've got an iPad, I'll just move it. Thank you. So, I forgot to say that it's over 77. It is allegro non troppo, and there does need to be space, but still there needs to be a feeling of direction, I think. And I'm also wondering whether that theme maybe you might go up on the E string rather than the A string. So, okay, it's serene, but do you know what I mean? It just needs to have a little bit more feeling of direction. Then we'll go back and play the end of this major violin entry. Good. That's really good. We're working, aren't we, on having your fingers a little bit more round, and I think this, because you make a very good sound, and I think it will help with the sort of roundness that one wants, the fat sound for Brahms, to get that sort of depth, and also to have the power with the orchestra. Some people have called this concerto, it's a concerto against the orchestra because there's so much orchestra, but it's like a symphony for violin and orchestra. Now, with that tempo, can we go back a bit and think, when you finally get to the D major in the first section, think about the orchestra, because this is a decoration, so maybe I can play it. So we're going to go from ta-dee-dee-dee-dee, which is bar, measure 119, 120. Okay. Let's see. Do you see this? I'm going to play the first violin part, which is the theme here. All right? So, same tempo. All right? Okay? Yes? So you need to relate it up to what's happening in the orchestra. That's so much better. And the other thing is about the intonation, which is generally very good, but I think if you make sure that all the Ds, when you get to the top D, that it's the same. So after all this, every time you get to the D, and then, yeah, and then, I think that would be really good. And then on the second page, I think it's the E's all the time here. So we're looking, this is now measure, roundabout measure 171. Those of you who might want to reference this. So you could do a harmonic to make sure it's this really in tune, but just so that you're aiming for the same each time. So you've got a sort of anchor point. Do you want to have a go at that? Yeah, and then da, 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 we're still in E major. Good, that's very good. Now, there was another passage you wanted to play later on, or the bit of the second movement?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much. Very, very good. We talked about before that your first note, although it's marked piano dolce, needs to be very telling. And I think that you're taking over from the oboe that you've heard in the opening. I think you need to play a little bit nearer the bridge with the first note because you're playing it on the A string, aren't you? So it has a little bit more of the intensity. Other than that, it was very good sound. I was thinking, if you're going to conduct this, you want to, although it's adagio, you want to be able to feel it in tune, don't you? Even if you conduct it in four. So again, it's this feeling of line. Brahms' own motto was frei aber einsam, which means free but alone. And I think the documentation of Fanny Davis, who heard Brahms playing the piano, said that he played very freely. So even though we've got to think about the orchestra and everything, I think you can afford a bit more freedom in places, so that although you've got the basic pulse, it doesn't want to be too straight. I think that would be good. So as you get to know this better, you can be a little bit more free with it. Yeah? Just, shall we try it again somewhere here?
Again, from the beginning.
Yeah, so start a bit nearer the bridge and then see where you can take a bit of time. Okay, so I don't think you want to have every note the same. I think the thing to do is to sing it. Because then you get the natural feeling of the breath, the phrase, the shape, and it's not so much every note the same with the bow and the violin. Yeah? So, rather than just a minute. Yeah. Now up to the top. phrase. Ta ya na ta. Yeah. So whatever bowing you do there, finish the previous phrase. Yeah. Maybe play around. Yeah, so there's a bit more of the phrasing. This other bit here. I wonder if maybe, let's see. Yeah. Next one. That's better. Okay, like all good singers, you need to sing the top note. Yeah, enjoy the top note. That's it. Okay, that gives it more meaning now because you're bringing out the chromatic notes, you know, they're the interesting notes, yeah? We could spend hours on this. Is there another passage you would like to play? Well done, thank you very much. It's really super sound there. I think there's a slight tendency to get a little bit too slow. So that, again, although it's adagio, it needs to have a feeling of phrase, of direction, yeah? I think that you could, at the end, be a bit more generous with the bow. It's like a sigh or an expiration, this. Rather than all in one bow, yeah? So I think that also in my edition, you could make it a little bit more spoken, a little bit more parlando. So I want to just try it with a little bit more feeling of movement. Here. Nothing. Nothing's happening in those two bars, so you're free. Yeah. So you could be a little bit more less regular. This bit here, and then the orchestra comes in the 2 bars later. Okay, just go from. Good. Yeah, very good. So how are we doing for time? Should we perhaps move on to a little bit of Boulanger now, if we're going to, or have we got time for a little bit more Brahms?
I think we should continue with the Boulanger. Thank you so much, Shing Hong. A fantastic performance. And now let me get to the Lili Boulanger Nocturne recording.
I can just talk a little bit about this. I discovered this piece quite a long time ago, and Lili Boulanger, it was the sister of the great teacher Nadia Boulanger, who dedicated her whole life in teaching to the memory of her sister, who suffered from ill health and died, I think, at the age of 24. And she was the first woman to be awarded the Prix de Rome, which is a very, very prestigious composition prize. And she composed this beautiful nocturne in 1911. And I feel with International Women's Day coming up, and that we should be celebrating these fine women composers that have been a bit neglected. And this is a romantic piece in a completely different vein from Brahms. It's intimate, it's probably written for the drawing room, but it's a very special piece. And I had the pleasure of performing this with a Russian pianist, Rustem Kudurayov, who I also performed with in Moscow. So I feel that's a sort of nice link up.
All right. Let me see if I can find a way to share this quickly. Bravo! What a beautiful, wonderful piece. Thank you for your fantastic performance and for bringing it on stage for so many more people can get familiar with this gorgeous piece, which does sound a little bit early 20th century. It's not 19th century, but definitely such a alluring short composition.
Yes, I recorded a whole album called Violin Songs because I think that with my violin I aspire to be a singer, really. I don't have such a good voice myself, but it interests me. So I got together this whole collection of short pieces, some well-known like Elgar's Chanson de Matin, Morning Song, and Salut de Mort, and some more unusual things. I also recorded the Prokofiev Songs Without Words, which are the Cinq Mélodies of Opus 35, which he originally wrote as songs and then arranged, songs without words, and then arranged for violin and piano when he was in Paris. And he was there, with Lili Boulanger and so on. So there's a nice link up. But also, we're in the Royal College of Music. I've championed the music of Frank Bridge, who's I think an underrated composer. He's tends to be known as the teacher of Benjamin Britten, but he was a really fine composer, very fine viola player. And there are 7 pieces by Frank Bridge on this disc, worth looking into. They're more than just salon pieces, and there's one that's virtuoso. It sounds a bit. The Times critic said he thought it had a Russian hue, which takes us on nicely to our next piece. Although this is, of course, Sarasate we're going to hear, but from St. Petersburg. So, would you like to welcome our next violinist?
Hello, Alexandra. We have a violinist from St. Petersburg who studies at Musorgsky Music College, Alexandra Kozyreva, who will play Sarasate Caprice for us next.
Can you put it so that I can see Alexandra on the main screen?
Perhaps if you mute your computer, then that will happen. Let's try that.
Okay, great. Are you going to go on or just want to play me this?
I can go better.
Yeah, please. Bravo. Can you tell us what is Basque? Caprice Basque. What is this? Do you know?
I know what Basque country of Basque in Spain.
That's right. So it's a very special region because it's the northern part of Spain and the southern part of France with the Pyrenees, and they have their own language. So although Sarasate was Spanish, he was writing this. There was a lot of interchange with French, it's interesting that, you know, the French composers got very keen on Spanish music and everything. So I think that's worth knowing. And I was thinking about the word caprice, because it also can mean capricious, which means playful. And even though you've got this very difficult piece, which you play, you know, extremely well, I feel that what we should focus on is the opening, because there's something about the rhythmic character there, ta-dum, ta-dee, ta-dee, which I think could be a little bit more playful sometimes, because I think once you get to the allegro moderato, it just flies and it's terrific. But somehow you want to capture the character right away at the beginning. And I think, although it's in a minor key, it could have a little bit more of that capricious character. Do you know what I mean? So I think the thing is to really think about the rhythm. I think it can be, you can take a little bit of liberty with it. I've heard some, I don't know whether you've heard some recordings. There's one by Ricci, which I like. Ta-dum, ta-dee, ta-da, ti-da, ta-dee, ta-da. It's just got a sort of, do you know what I mean? Lilt, a little bit of swaying character, like a dance. So I think, again, what I was saying to our violinist who played the Brahms, to sing things. Sometimes it's good to think of things away from the violin, of how you would sing it, even if it's not with the right pitches. Ta-dum, ta-dee, ta-da, ti-da, ta-dee, ta-da, ti-dee, ta-dum, ta-dee. Can you have another go? And it needs to be quite persuasive. Do you know what I mean? Yes. Just going to get my violin. Okay. So just the opening. Might I suggest, as it's marked piano and you're not competing with an orchestra, it's just quite a light piano accompaniment, maybe you could just start a bit less without too much bow. I don't play this piece, but let's. I think we might have the connection frozen a bit.
Yes, connection a bit funny. Well, can try.
Did you hear what I was saying? Could be a little bit lighter at the beginning. I think we're okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I don't. I
Didn't understand.
Yes,
At the beginning, it's marked piano, and unlike the Brahms concerto, which I was saying the opposite, where you've really got to project, you're playing with a full orchestra. It's just a light piano accompaniment. So I think you could afford to be a little less at the beginning. Save the playing big for later. So maybe a little, think a bit more piano, a little bit less bow, and a little bit more playful. Okay, I think that's already better. And then I would say to grade the vibrato as well. So the first long note wouldn't be such a full vibrato as when you get to the top note, which is the D. Do you know what I mean? So save it a bit for the crescendo in, you've got 8 bars rest at the beginning, then 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's where the phrase is going, isn't it? Ti-dum, ba-dum, pa-ta, ta-ta, ti-ta-da. So perhaps play quite so much vibrato in the second bar with the B flat. Yeah? So you can grade it. Does that make sense? Yeah, I mean, it's probably personal taste, but I would have thought that you don't want too much vibrato on the B flat at the beginning. This, the second bar, where you can see me. Rather than such a full Brahmsian sort of vibrato already. And then this bar here that you just got to, you can play a bit with the articulation of the bow. So, you know, have a little bit more fun. Yeah? Okay, and then because it comes quite a lot, that figure comes a lot, doesn't it, in the whole of this first section, that rhythm. So I think find ways of varying it a bit. Sometimes it's with the dynamic, sometimes with the length of the bow, that sort of thing. Because when you're saying something many times, you want to keep it interesting. Does that make sense? So you can say it a slightly different way. Sometimes be a little bit less, and then sometimes a bit more, and then so that you've got what I call light and shade. Do you know what I mean? Light and shade, light and dark, more, a little bit more variety. Have a look at the piano part. Yeah, have a look at the piano part. Have a look at the harmony when it changes. You know, sometimes you go to F major or something, and then when you've got the double stops later on, you know, where it goes into G major. Again, sometimes I thought that the do you understand semiquavers? 16th notes were a little bit long, so that you've always got this feeling of that yada taddy ta da ta-da, taddy, ta-da. So it has a little bit more feeling of almost like a dance, yeah? Because you play marvelously all the technical things, and I just would love for you to get even more character into the opening section. Would you like to try any of it again? Would you like to try the, you know where it goes into G major with the double stops? So this is more friendly now, isn't it? Because we're in a major key. When it that goes into the third, that bit. Yeah, da-dee, da-dum. Thank you. Yes, that's more the idea, I think. The other thing you have to watch, I'm just going to show the music here. The difference between the eighth notes and the 16th notes. So you've got yaram is eighth notes, and then tadi, tada, 16th notes. Sometimes they sound a little bit too similar. So it's yada, tadi, tada, yada, tadi, tada. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So tada, tadi, tada. And that will just give it a little bit more lift. Yeah? Okay, so maybe have a look at that, have a look at that to make sure that the 16th notes are short enough, they're different enough from the eighth notes. Tadi, tadi, yada, tadi, tadam. For anyone watching this, it's I don't know whether you can see at the bottom of this page, but that's how it's written. Okay, did you want to ask me anything?
I think no. I understand. Thank you.
You're very welcome. It's great to hear you, and best of luck. So,
Thank you.
So thank you very much, Alexandra, for participating today and for wonderful playing. Thank you, Professor Mitchell, for outstanding interpretation and all the advice you were able to give. And today, I think we're closing our session. And we over to Veronica for final closing words.
Okay, great. Just wanted to repeat and say how honored we are to have had Professor Mitchell and her students join our program today and for sharing the knowledge and art. We hope you will join us for our next sessions, which will be February 24th. Tomorrow, we will have two sessions from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern. We will have Dina K. Jones do a performance and masterclass on Beethoven, a piano masterclass. And then right after that, from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern, we will have a panel and lecture and performance on becoming your own musician with Stephen Key, an oboist. And then on February 25th, the Friday, from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, we will have an event called Across Asia Masterclass with faculty and students from Taiwan. And before we conclude, I would just like to introduce those of you who might have missed the new dates for the summer edition of the Orfeo Music Festival, an international classical music event and one-of-a-kind opportunity for an ambitious classical music students to perform and travel to Italy to train with world-class faculty performers, participate in their master classes, perform internationally, and gain recognition in concerts, go on trips and musical tours of historic locations, and make new musical friendship and international network of professional connections. This year, Orfeo Festival will not only feature the original program in Vipiteno, Italy from July 4th to July 16th, but it will also offer in its special additional program, the musical tour of Russia from July 16th to July 26th. Students can apply to participate in either the Italian or Russian programs or both. The event is suitable not only for student and educator performers, but also with others with strong interest or professional involvement in the music and arts. You can register for the event through March 15th or by March 1st for the early bird registration rate. We would like to thank our sponsors as well that include the Orfeo Music Festival Foundation, Mayor Vipiteno Peter Volger, Department of Culture, City Council, and Department of Tourism of Vipiteno, Italy. If anyone here has any questions, we encourage you to reach out to us directly or by visiting our website at www.orfeomusicfestival.com. We thank you all again for attending today. This was such a special treat, and we look forward to speaking with you or playing with you again very soon or seeing you at the festival.